right, so let's greet all the people not only on Facebook, but all our new viewers on Kabbalah.com. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Woo-hoo. That's great. That's great. So now we can get started with our affirmation. And along the same way, why do we need to constantly affirm? I mean, those of you who've been here for a year, 2 or 3 since we started, we affirm the same thing every week. What's the purpose? Why are we doing this? Raise our consciousness. Because why? What's the advantage? Why should we raise our consciousness? What good does it do for us? We become better people. And by constantly awakening the truth, what happens to the lies and the falsehoods that we grew up with? They disappear. All the limitations disappear as we constantly affirm that we are unlimited. And that's the whole point. We have to remember, because it's so easy to forget. How many of you have ever promised yourself, I will not do that bad habit again? Right. And about a week later, what happens? You do it again. Why? Because we forgot. So we have to constantly remind ourselves. And that's why every week we begin our Spiritual Sunday with this affirmation. To already set ourselves in the consciousness that we want to raise our thinking. We want to change our perspective. Because the more we'll change our perspective, the better our life will be. Because what we're learning here is how to handle everything. The good, the bad, the indifferent, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what comes our way. What Kabbalah is teaching us is how we can transform everything. From good to better, from not so good to good, etc. So there's nothing that can happen to us that we can't deal with and make use to make us better people. And the beauty is, the better people that we are, then what happens to all the people on earth? They also get better, because whether we understand it or not, whether we're conscious in the moment or not, whether we even believe it or not, every human being on earth is interconnected with every other being on the soul level. So whatever we do is impacting them. And you and I would rather have an impact on them with the light of the Creator and goodness and love and kindness and compassion than let what may be out there in different ways, chaos, affect us. Who should win? Chaos or order? Light or darkness? So let's get started. If you'll join with me in the affirmation, let's say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. And that means everybody. So from this moment forward, the whole goal is that we'll be able to be more loving, more kind, and more compassionate towards whom? Everybody. Now, some of us, we're spiritual, we've been learning, we've been doing, so we think of everyone outside. But I just want to remind you that also includes the person you see in the mirror. Ooh, that went over well. We should be the first one we have greater love, kindness, and compassion. Not exclusively. But then once we have that greater awareness and appreciation for who we really are, then we can spread it out to other people. Okay, so let's get started like this. Anyone here seen a jigsaw puzzle? Yes. Everyone knows what a jigsaw puzzle is? Yes. Great. So I wanted to start with that one simple idea. Life is like a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, thank you very much. It's great. Nice to see you. Let's think. And then we'll understand exactly how that works. A jigsaw puzzle. Somebody comes along and says, here's a picture I drew, here's a picture I made, here's a picture out there, and we'd like to make a jigsaw puzzle out of it. So they already have the whole picture, don't they? Right. Now they put it on paper and they cut out all the pieces. So they make tens or hundreds or thousands of pieces out of that one picture. Then the fun of the jigsaw puzzle is what? Putting it together. I mean, think about it. If you're one of those people who enjoy doing jigsaw puzzles, or really any kind of puzzle if you think about it. So imagine you open up this box of a jigsaw puzzle, and as you take it out, all it does, it unfolds like a tablecloth. So you unfold it, and there's the whole picture with all just the little drawings of the lines and the different pieces. Are you really going to enjoy that? You're going to go back to the toy store, and you're going to ask for your money back. I want the pieces to be able to put it together myself. So then in the same way, every human being on earth is living a jigsaw puzzle life. Why is it that every person wants more than they have today? Why is it that every person is looking to improve themselves? What if you're at the state in your life that's better than any time you've ever had in all your years? Like you're at the peak, you've got the most, doing the most, feel the best, etc. Why do we still want more? Why? Think of the jigsaw puzzle. We know, we feel inherently there's a complete picture. There's more than we're getting now. There's more out there. I may have a lot of it put together, but I know there's more. I don't see, or I'm not experiencing yet, the whole picture. And every human being on earth, on the soul level, is asking for what? I want what the Creator set out for me. That's what you and I are understanding. To be made in the image and likeness of the Creator, Kabbalistically means it's already been set out for us, the whole picture. So how many of you are already right now living 100% fulfillment, joy, happiness, peace? Now just checking to see if there's anyone out there. Okay. No, they're saying the same thing, right? We don't, which means then we may have some of the pieces of our puzzle put together, but we want to keep collecting more and more because every human being wants all good all the time. Yes or yes? Yes. Great. Yes, sometimes I don't give them free choice. That's the way it works here. Right? Of course we do. Everybody wants all good all the time. So in order to do that, we want to put our puzzle together. We have to put all the pieces together. Now, why is there stress? Why is there difficulty? Anyone here have a little confusion, a little difficulty, any challenges in life? Or you just love everybody and you just go through life like the yellow brick road, right? So you have a little challenges. Now, think of the jigsaw puzzle. Think of that, how it impacts our life. So imagine this jigsaw puzzle, 5,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. Okay? It's a big jigsaw puzzle. You look at one piece that belongs over in this corner, you look at another piece that belongs over in this corner, and maybe you put 2 or 3 together over here, and 3 or 4 together over here. But you still can't understand what the connection between those are. Right? This looks like one thing, this looks like something else, seems to have no relationship to you. What happens? Now you're confused. Now you have stress. And that's what happens to us. We have a piece of our life over here, we have another piece of our life over here, and we don't see the connection between them. We don't know how to solve the problem that we're in. So if you don't see the solution, how do you feel? Happy or not so happy? Not so happy. You can be confused. You can be stressed out. You can be worried. You can have fear. You can have insecurity. Did I leave any out yet? Anyone feeling something else? Right? Anxious, frustrated. Right? You want to blame everybody. Why is my jigsaw puzzle not perfect yet? Your fault. No? Isn't that how we work? I don't get my way. Whose fault is it? Is it me or is it them? Them. That's the easiest thing to do. Right? Blame everybody else for what I don't have. But go back to your jigsaw puzzle. Each and every one of us have our perfect jigsaw puzzle. The Creator created for each of us a perfect picture of a perfect life. My picture may be part and parcel of yours because, like this, we're all sitting here together. So we all have at least, in this moment, one piece in common. But the rest of my puzzle, and I don't know how to picture it in my mind, but 7.5 billion different puzzles all surrounding, let's say, one piece, right? In 7.5 billion different ways. That's what life is about. So the confusion is not because there's not a solution. The confusion is when I cannot see the solution, or maybe people don't believe there's a solution. How many people do you know who will tell you, you know what, they've got this difficulty, or they look at the world, whatever it is, there's just no answer. There's no way to solve this. You know anybody like that? Exactly. So what do they just condemn themselves to? Eternal chaos, eternal confusion. Because as long as they can't see a solution, as long as they don't have an answer, then they're always going to be stressed out about something. If it's not one thing, it's something else. If it's not that thing, it's something else. But you and I are coming to understand the picture is already there. That's what we have to keep reminding ourselves. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see what? The miracles and wonders of life, which means simply, in today's lesson, the whole picture is there. I just didn't see it. Let me open my eyes to see it. Let me raise my awareness to see it. That's the issue. I have to raise myself. How many of you ever went to school? How many of you remember school? So you're into first, second, third grade, right? You're learning the subjects you're learning. You get to 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you're learning something else. You get to high school, you learn something else. If you went to college, something else. But let me ask you, the day you walked into that first grade, was the wisdom, the knowledge that you would learn in high school or college, was it already there? Or did they invent it as you went along your grade? It was already there. So the same way, that college wisdom, that college knowledge, it's already there. But when you're in first grade, you only get a few pieces. You get into second grade, a few more pieces. Third grade, a few more pieces, etc., until you start to put the puzzle together. Now you start to see more and more of it, and then, I don't know why it comes to my mind. Okay, I'll share. Many of you know, I was on my way to be a doctor, so I learned, high school, I learned pre-med, I had science classes, etc. Then when I got into spirituality and I started to turn my direction this way, I remember the first couple of years I thought to myself, gee, wasn't that a waste of education? Right? All of a sudden, what am I going to do with science in spirituality? So I thought, no connection. You follow some pieces of science over here, the pieces of spirituality over here, nothing between. Well, when I finally got into Kabbalah, after 10 years of searching, then I started to learn Kabbalah, and what did I realize? I was glad that I had been learning science, because as I first came to the center 30 some odd years ago, I heard my teachers, Rav Berg and Karen Berg, talk about Kabbalah as 50th century science. And back then, the scientists were only in the 20th century. So they were learning to catch up with Kabbalah. So knowing some fundamentals of science helped me have greater certainty in this wisdom called Kabbalah. Because when they matched, when you could start to see the connection between the pieces, suddenly I had greater certainty and greater trust that if I applied the 50th century science called Kabbalah, without being able to see right away the connection between those pieces, eventually I would see the connection. And after 30 years, I can see it very simply. Quantum physics. Imagine 35 years ago, I told you that you could be in two places at once. You'd say I was crazy, right? Parallel universes, multiplexes, things like that. Cuckoo Kabbalah. That's what they used to say to us. You learn too much Kabbalah, you go crazy. Well, now we're in the 21st century, and guess what? There are quantum physicists out there who are also cuckoo Kabbalah, because they sound just like Kabbalists. You can be two places at once. There's such things as teleportation, etc., etc. All these things now that we think in modern science is already thousands and thousands of years old in Kabbalah. So now we're starting to put enough pieces together to see those connections. That's what it's about. It's not about, well, take these pieces and if I can't fit them together, throw them away. Right now you may not see the connection. But after a while, you start to see how they do. Think of your puzzle. Even if you just had one line, 5,000 pieces, but you have just 3 or 4 in the middle that connect. Oh, now I start to see how they work. So I had an experience on Friday, the way the universe works, thank God. So for whatever reason, I decided I was going to stay a little later and work on this Sunday message. The center's closed, nobody's here, I'm the only one in the office. All of a sudden, I hear a knock at the door, like somebody's shaking the door to try and get in. So I'm thinking to myself, should I answer the door? It's closed, what am I going to do? I've got to get this message. I said, no, I have to go out and see who it is. You never know. So I go and I open the door, and if you remember Friday, torrential rain. So think about it. I got the idea here in the center to stay a little later. This woman is driving about 15 miles to get here in the torrential rain because she had a mission. So here's your two pieces, like as far away as you could imagine. But they all intersected when I was here late and she was banging on the door to get in. And what did she want? Because I'm thinking, what can I do? I don't know how to run the bookstore, this, that, and that. She comes and she says, aren't you supposed to close at 3? I said, no, we close at 2. She says, I came here, I didn't care about the weather, I didn't care about the rain, I have a mission. I have a friend going to South America tomorrow, and she wants to take a stack of pocket Zohars to spread there. And those of you who've been around, you know what we have seen. I don't even want to say believe. Well, we have certainty the power of the Zohar is. So I was able to give her her stack of Zohars so she could take it to her friend who was leaving in the afternoon to go. So again, all the pieces fitting together. So because those pieces were able to fit together, there's dozens of people down in South America who will now be protected by their pocket Zohar because her path was coming that way. My path led me to stay here, and we intersected. So I could see why. Yes, it's nice I could work on the message a little bit, but you know what? I could work Saturday night too. I could work early Sunday morning. Why I was there was exactly those two pieces had to fit together. And then the other thing, how do I know? Let's think of this. So here we are over here in this corner. She gets the Zohar, she's giving it to her friend. But her friend's going way over here into South America to hand out the Zohar. How do we know what the connection of that is? How do we know which one of us are going to have a miracle because these people now in South America have received the Zohar, and the Zohar's energy covers the world. Every Zohar goes out, affects 7.5 billion people. So right now you say, well, that's a very nice story, but that's South America. But as we talked about in the beginning, South America, is it separate and independent on a spiritual level from all of us sitting here in Boca or all of you wherever you may be? No, it's all interconnected. So what they're doing down there is affecting us here, and what we're doing here is affecting people all over the world. So we have no idea at this point what's going to happen to us because those people got the Zohar, because all the pieces work together. We don't know, but we do know one thing. It's miracles and wonders. It's miracles and wonders, and it's affecting our life every day. One of the things the Kabbalists teach us is we need to open our eyes, and that's why in our affirmation we say to see the miracles and wonders. Because the Kabbalists tell us every day there are thousands of miracles that happen to us, but unfortunately we don't always see them. We're not always aware of them. And the first one, and probably on a daily basis, probably one, if not the most important one, miracle happened to all of us today already. We woke up. We're on this side. We're above ground. We're not under the ground. I have one of the students here says, it's a great day when I'm on this side of the grass. All right, but how many of us wake up and we're already a little groggy, and do I have to get up now, and I have to go to work, or I have to do whatever? Or do we wake up excited just the fact we woke up? That's already a miracle and a wonder. I have another day to do what? Gather my pieces of the puzzle. Because the more I gather, the happier I am. Just like if you've ever put together a puzzle. When you start to put the pieces together, you start to feel good. Because more and more of the picture shows up. So you're happier. You're always looking at the box. If you're like me, you look at the box and then you try and put the pieces together. So every day we said, every human being is looking for that picture. All good all the time. And you look at your life and you say, I see all good all the time. Here and there, there's good. Here and there, it's not so good. So then we're looking for the pieces. And how do we collect the pieces? It's everything we learn in Kabbalah. Everything you do on a daily basis. Everything you've ever learned. How many pieces, even in a physical level, how many pieces of information did you pick up going to school? Exactly. All those pieces are who you are now. Everything we've collected, how we grew up, how we were raised, the different experiences we have, right? Our background, the way we grew up, the religion we grew up in, the spirituality we grew up in, the way our family life was, all of that are all pieces we've collected, and they've been put together to create, as of this moment, what? You and me. You and I are right now, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, all the pieces we've gathered up to this point. Now we want to gather more pieces because maybe you never did it, but I remember when I used to work on a jigsaw puzzle, every now and then you see pieces that you think fit together, and you squeeze and you push and you twist and you this, because they've got to fit together. Yes or yes? Exactly. You've been there, done that? Yes, and you push and you try and hold them there. But then you start to put other pieces and suddenly you realize, So what do you have to do? You have to take it apart and then look for the pieces. Well, sometimes that's what goes on in our life. Some of the pieces we've learned doesn't fit right now the way we think they fit. Consciousness is everything. We want to keep taking away the falsehood, which means the pieces that we tried to squeeze together that don't fit. So we're taking them apart. That's what we're learning here. Take those pieces apart and then find the way that they do fit. Because we believe that the Creator created you and I as pure and perfect beings of light. Right? It's one of the things we constantly also affirm. I am a pure and perfect being of light. I am a pure and perfect being of light. Can I ask you to say that? I am a pure and perfect being of light. But now say it like you mean it. I am a pure and perfect being of light. Now sit up like you're a pure and perfect being of light. Show me, if you really believe that, how would you be standing? How would you be sitting? What would your energy be right now? That's what we want to think about. I am a pure and perfect being of light. Let's start radiating that light. Because number one, it's good for us. The brighter light I shine, then everywhere I go, what do my eyes see? Brightness. They see the light of the Creator everywhere, in everyone, in everything. So then as we'll apply Kabbalah, because that's how we start collecting the pieces. We may have interaction with people. How do we collect the pieces for our pure and perfect puzzle? By acting with love, kindness, and compassion in every situation, to every human being. We affirmed it. Especially in the situations that are difficult, where there's the greatest difficulty to shine your light, your love, your compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, kindness, generosity, humility, etc., where you have the greatest effort to transform that darkness to light, that chaos to order. That's where you gain the most pieces. And then we just add them up. I mean, if you have 5,000 piece puzzle and you're in a race, how fast do you want to put them together? How fast do you want to put them together? Pretty fast as possible. So that's why we run around. Love, kindness, and compassion to whom? All human beings. That's part of our battle. To exert ourselves to be able to share our light with people and situations that make it difficult for us. Make it difficult. Because we don't always see how the pieces are going to fit together. I have another student who was just telling me last week. We were sitting and discussing, and she's been in the center maybe a year, but she really got it. She came already with a certain openness spiritually. So she's growing, she's using the tools, she starts spreading the Zohar. All her friends have Zohar, she sends it to everybody. She's handing out Zohars, little pocket Zohars, right? Like these, to everyone she knows. Everyone, she sends them to people who are willing to get them, etc. So she's growing, she's had some change in her own life, she's had some miracles, etc. Now she's sitting and we're talking, she's telling me, look, Chaim, I don't get it. There's confusion. Now all of a sudden she's seeing chaos everywhere. Her daughter has chaos, her grandchildren have chaos, her friends are telling her about chaos in various ways, whether it's relationship, health, or whatever it is. Right? And she's seeing all this chaos, and she's asking me, is the chaos getting worse, or is it just my life? Pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. Go back to that. You start to put pieces together over here, and then there's a few odd pieces around. Is it not possible that those pieces that you don't see in the first moment actually fit over here in the cluster you've created? Yes or yes? Yes. Yes or yes? Yes. Thank you, okay. They got to know that there's somebody else here besides me, right? Right? You start to put those pieces together. So I just pointed out to her, because she being caught up in the midst of these challenges around her, she wasn't seeing how the pieces were fitting. So I said to her, I said, wait a second, but let's think about it. Think of your path, how you've grown, how you've seen miracles, how you've had transformation in your health and in your relationships. Now what are you seeing? Your children, your grandchildren, your friends, etc. are having difficulty in similar places. Now, don't you appreciate the fact you went through what you went through in order to have the pieces to be able to help them? Because you gathered your puzzle pieces together, now you can share with them how to put theirs together. And what did she look at? She looked at me, she said, never thought of it that way. Never thought of it that way. That's why we have each other. That's why Karen Berg created Kabbalah Centers, a spiritual community we can all be united and support each other. Because there's always going to be a time I don't see. In fact, one of the things that I remember, my second year in the center, Karen shared with us. How many of you ever, before you came to Kabbalah, did you ever look in a mirror to brush your teeth, comb your hair, put on makeup, anything like that? Yes? Some of you not? You just know how to do it, or what? Just born with that. I can just do like in the cartoons, and then it looks okay. So you look in a mirror all your life. Did you ever stop and think, why do we need a mirror? Stop and think now. Why do we need a mirror? Because I can't see myself. I can see my arms and my legs. I can't see my own face. Can I? So this is what Karen woke up for me, consciousness. Why is it created? I mean, if we're going to theorize creation, couldn't we have created it in some way? Maybe I would have an eye or a sensor on the end of my finger so I could do like this. I could see myself. Or in some way I could see myself. No, I need a mirror. And why does Karen teach us? Because the same way like this, she couldn't see in that moment how her pieces and the assembling her pieces gave her the capability to help these people. So they could speed up their process of gathering puzzle pieces together too. Instead of just wandering around. Imagine if there was no one. You remember Roger Bannister? Some of you might know the name. The first man to run the 4-minute mile. Do you know what happened before that? All the puzzle pieces. Everybody was 5,000 pieces all separate. And everyone said, it's impossible. Physiologically, they even told us, it's impossible for the physical body to run a 4-minute mile. So what did Roger Bannister do? He said no. He gathered enough pieces, consciousness, belief, trust, certainty, that he could achieve it. And he kept reminding himself he could. And guess what? He broke the 4-minute mile. And you know what happened after that? Almost immediately, dozens of other people were breaking the 4-minute mile. Why? Because he broke the belief that you cannot do it. So everybody said, well, if he could do it, then I can do it also. So you and I are here to set that pattern. As we put our pieces together and we can make the changes, then we can show other people to do it and we speed up the process. So we'll have all good all the time. All of our puzzle pieces will be put together. Imagine when everybody has a complete puzzle. Nobody's going to be looking out for the other one. Why do they have? How come I don't have? I want to take from them. I don't want to take from them. Let me give them the bad stuff, etc. Everyone will be, love your neighbors yourself. Everyone will be looking out for the good of other people. Imagine that world. Imagine what's that like. So then our job is just what? Keep collecting the puzzle pieces. Go through life and every experience in your life. You look in the mirror in order to see yourself. So look at yourself, but remind yourself one thing, first and foremost. I am a pure and perfect being of light. I am a pure and perfect being of light. Then, when you see the things that are out of order, you can put them back in order. If you don't believe you're already pure and perfect, and it's just putting the puzzle together, imagine that you have on the picture, on the box, there's a picture of the sky, right? The sky, the sun, etc., the clouds, like a nice sunny day, etc. And as you take the puzzle pieces out, what do you see? Pieces of Italy, a picture of the fountain in Italy, right? So now you're trying to put the pieces together according to the picture of the sky and the sun and the clouds, etc. But all you got pieces of some fountain in Italy. Is it ever going to work? No, because you don't see how the picture and the pieces fit together. So if we don't already believe that we are pure and perfect, and the Creator created a perfect world, and our job is just to put the pieces together, then we'll never achieve it. We'll never achieve it, but we're here to understand and to motivate each other and to support each other. Yes, we can make it. Not only can we, but we're going to. Because the Creator already said, you are a pure and perfect being of light. I already set out for you purity and perfection. It's already there. We just have to put our pieces together. But keep collecting. Every experience, everywhere you go, keep collecting. Because what's going to happen? So let's say we have an opportunity, challenge comes our way, opportunity to share with somebody, and let's say we don't. So then what happens? Is that piece gone? Yes or no? See, now I'm giving you free will. Just because I don't want those people, the new people watching, going, uh-oh, this is no free will, I don't want that. Yes or no? Yeah, what's the question? What's that? Yes. If you can't see that there's already a perfect you and a perfect world, can you put your pieces to fit into that? No, of course not. And then what are you going to have? Just chaos and confusion and stress all life. We don't want that. It's not meant to be that way. So if we don't collect the piece, like you do, you put the pieces together, it doesn't fit, so you set them aside to go for them again. That's what happens. How many of you ever had a bad relationship? Nobody here is raising their hand. I just want you to know that, right? So if you are, you're the odd person out. Okay. Right? So we've all had those relationships. Now, after you're in the breakup phase or you broke up, did you ever look back and say, there was a flag, there was a red flag. That's what they said. This is what they did. But I didn't see it. But the pieces were there. After the fact, we look back and we say, I should have seen that one and this one and this one and this one. But whatever reason, I ignored them. Yes or yes? Yes. Exactly. So then what happens? If we miss the puzzle piece, what does the universe do to our benefit, although it's not so comfortable? Brings it back again. You have another relationship. You get in another job. Whatever your issue is, you're doing the same thing again and again, not because the universe is punishing you, and it's not in any negative way. It's because you have your pieces of the puzzle that are already yours. You can't throw one piece away and try and get another piece somewhere else. Your pieces are yours, mine are mine, and everyone else is everyone else. So we're here to help each other put our pieces together. So the universe will repeat it again and again and again until we get it right and put that piece into that cluster and add to the bigger picture so we're happier, healthier, more peaceful, more loving, more kind, more generous, more supportive of each other, more united. And it'll keep going until when? Our puzzle is fixed. Until it's all done. It will go again and again. Now, start to put the pieces together. Now what happens? How do we know? How many of you, okay, let's not put it on you. When I first came to the center, 10 years of spiritual study, I thought I was a pretty spiritual person, right? I'd studied, I was teaching, so I thought, wow, I'm coming to this Kabbalah stuff. I knew it was the highest teaching there was, because all the encounters that I had had along the way of studying different metaphysical teachings all said Kabbalah was the source of everything. So now I figured I'm pretty spiritual, I'm coming into this Kabbalah center. Then I start to learn Kabbalah. And I start to understand what real sharing is, what real transformation is, and I start to realize a lot of what I thought were my sharing acts were not acts of sharing. They were really just a business exchange. I'll do for you, you do for me. I'll do for you, you do for me. I'll do this for you, you'll do this for me. Yes, were they nice things? Yes. But in my consciousness, and consciousness is everything, it wasn't just to share the light of the Creator unconditionally. That's why we learn the greatest way to know that you're sharing unconditionally, just sharing for the sake of revealing the light of your soul, is when you're sharing in those difficult situations. Because what are you going to get from it? Nothing. Nothing. You may share with that person, you may apologize to that person, they still don't forgive you. So what did you get? You think nothing, but you got the revelation of your light. You got another 1, 2, 3, 5, or 10 pieces of your puzzle. So it's not whether they apologize or they forgive you. It's never about that. It's about collecting your pieces by acts of sharing and kindness and love. That's it. So then what do we have to do? How will we know when we've reached the point where we've got a cluster, or maybe we're close to the end? You know what's going to happen? We'll be tested. We'll be tested. Yes, we have repetitive situations of things where we miss the piece, but we're also going to be tested in those places to show us that we have achieved. Like this woman, she achieved a certain level, so now she's able to help others, but she didn't realize it. So I was thinking about it. How many of you know what a lawyer is? Okay, so a lawyer goes to school many, many years, studies. Let's say you have a person graduates law school, top of their class, straight A's. Do they now just get their law certificate? Does the state now say, hey, here you are, now you're a lawyer, go practice? What do they still have to do? One more thing. They have to pass the bar. Why? If they're straight A, top of their class at the best law school on earth, why do they now have to? Because you've got to be tested. What do you really know? in order to practice law or whatever it is. So the same thing. We may have overcome one of our issues, some fear, some anger, some greed, some ego, whatever it may have been, we may have overcome it. There's got to be at least that one more test. So we can prove to ourselves. We don't have to prove to God. We don't have to prove to anybody else. So I prove to myself, yes, it's gone. It's complete. So I have that one more test. That's it. We just go through life. We don't always see how the pieces are put together, but we know they are. So what's our job? And I wanted to give you a few points. Things to get started with. Pick a chaotic situation in your life. Think of something right now. You have a little chaos. You have a little difficulty, a little conflict. Can you think of one? Yes. If you need one, I'm sure people around you could share one with you. Right? Exactly. So you have your one situation. Now, first thing, as of today, you have to already know in your mind the solution already exists. In fact, you know what the Zohar teaches us? The Zohar, for those of you who are new, is the source of all, not only Kabbalistic wisdom, but literally every form of wisdom on earth. It's the blueprint of the universe. So the Zohar says very simply, the solution always comes before the problem. The solution always comes before the problem. We think we have a problem and then we have to find a solution. But we are not the creator. The creator already created perfection. So the solution already exists. For the time when we will have the problem, we know the solution is there. So you have that chaotic situation. First thing is to know the solution is already there. But you cannot experience the solution until you're shining your light, projecting light from your soul by an act of love, kindness, compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, whatever it may be. You shine the light of your soul on that situation, on that person. Now your piece is starting to fit together. Don't worry about what they'll do. Shine your light. Send your light, and then the Creator will inspire you. It's the way it works. If you're channeling light out this way, from your soul out to other people, then metaphorically, you're receiving answers, divine inspiration, whatever you want to call it, gut feelings, that intuition. The answer will come to you. And then what do? Do it. Whatever you get inspired by the Creator to do, some act of sharing, go do it. Now, not only did you collect the pieces and see how they fit together, but you're actually putting them together. So your puzzle is growing and growing and growing. Closer to the 5,000, closer to the 5,000. And don't worry, I've shared with you a few different examples. This piece over here and this piece over here, don't know. In fact, how many of you have ever met somebody you never knew before? Nobody? Nobody's raising their hands. Help! Right? You met somebody you never met before, right? How did it happen? Like the story with this woman who came through the rain. She's on her path, I'm on my path, and we happened to meet here in the center. How did you meet that person? Because whatever pieces they had assembled took them to be in that place at that time, where your pieces being assembled put you in that same place in that same time. You ever had a great conversation with somebody on an airplane that you were sitting by, that you didn't plan on sitting by? Exactly. How does that happen? Because their path took them to that seat, your path took them to the seat next to them, and now you have some nice interaction. Even if it's just to feel warm and friendly, even if nothing else came from that later, but already just that you could share your energy with somebody, they shared it with you, and again, they go out into their life, you have no idea what impact you had on them. You have no idea what impact they had on you when you left. Maybe it just made you happy, or maybe you were kind of grumpy or a little nervous about the flight, and just having this great conversation, you get off the plane and you're already happy to go into whatever the place you're going or meet the people you're going to meet. Things change that way. So we don't know how it goes, but we know there is the bigger picture. We know that blueprint, if you will, of that jigsaw puzzle, it already exists. So I'm going to leave you with this story. 2 angels. There's the older angel, the more experienced angel, and he's taking the intern angel with him on the mission, right? So they come down into earth and they dress themselves up as like beggars, and they're walking around, and this is set in the 1700s, 1600s. So they're walking around and they come to this one town, and they start, asking for help. Could you please help us? Could you give us, a donation, give us some food, this and this and this? And everybody in the town basically refusing them. So as they're leaving the town, the more experienced angel goes to one of the people in the town, the mayor or whatever it is, and he says, I bless you that all of the people in the town will be leaders. And they walk away. And the little angel, the intern angel, looks at it and said, why would you do that? They were so mean and nasty. Why are you giving it? You don't see how the pieces will fit. Just wait and see. So then they're traveling around. They come to now another house. Now they come to a house. They knock on the door and they ask, we're traveling around. We need some help. Could we spend the night? Do you have a place we could sleep overnight and maybe a little food? So the owner looks at it and says, well, feels a little bit of sympathy. He says, there's a place in the barn and there's a little straw. You can go sleep out there. So they're sleeping there, and in the middle of the night, the experienced angel sees a hole in the wall, does his magic trick, and now it's repaired. So as they leave the next day, again, the little angel looking at the experienced says, what did you do that for? They weren't so nice. Why did you repair? You don't see the whole picture now. Pieces will fit together. So they're traveling and traveling. They come to another house. They knock on the door. It's very poor, you could tell. It's a couple, they have nothing. So, we need some help. It said, please come in. They invite them warmly, friendly. They bring them in. They sit them down at the table. They're not even, it's a little table for two. So there's the two angels and the couple, they're just standing around, feeding them. They've got a drop of soup. They've got, one bean for the dinner, this and this. Nothing. The only thing that they have is a cow that they milk, and the milk provides them just with their living, with enough food just to eat. So they've been very friendly. Even they say, here, you sleep in our bed, we'll sleep on the floor. So in the middle of the night, the old angel, the experienced angel, gets up and he kills the cow. The only source of income, the only thing that this couple owns. And then as they're leaving, of course the little angel, I don't get it. I demand now. This is enough. We saw you gave the blessing to these people who were not so nice so that they'll all be leaders. And then you go and you fix the barn for these people who were nasty to us and made us sleep in the barn in the cold. And here's a couple who gave us everything. They didn't even think about themselves. They gave everything. You killed the cow. You killed their only source of income. That's enough. He says, look, you didn't see the picture. He says, all the pieces fit together. He says, that town, he says, if you think about it, I blessed them because they were so nasty. I blessed them that they should all be leaders. Because if there's only leaders and no followers, what do they get? Chaos. Chaos. That's the effect of their behavior. So what about the barn? He says, well, those people, had they been more generous and offered us something, he says, in the barn behind that wall, or in that wall, there was a treasure of gold. But the fact that they weren't so nice, I patched up the wall so that they wouldn't find it, but the next people who belong to that, who are worthy of it, they'll find the gold. Pieces starting to fit together. And then he says, but what about the couple who gave us their bed, they gave us their food, they gave us everything, and you killed the cow? He says, because the woman in the middle of the night was supposed to be taken by the angel of death. So I gave the cow to the angel of death instead of the woman. Things happen, we have no idea how they fit together. Our job today is just to trust. Our job is to walk through life collecting the pieces in whichever way they may show up. Unconditionally share your love, your kindness, your compassion, your tolerance, etc. Because in the end of the story, the pieces will fit together and we will see how the universe is giving us love, kindness, light, and blessings. God bless. So, that's it? No, we yeah, you want to say this? Okay, so let's say goodbye to all our friends who are on Kabbalah.com and Facebook. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Oh, okay. Thanks. Okay, I'll get used to this. And we'll see you next week. We'll be here at the same time, same place. So thank you very much. Okay, for those of you who are here and those of you who are on Facebook who are still following us, this is the time. We are a charity. We are supported by you. But I wanted to just share with you a story that I heard yesterday about, I mentioned already today, this is our biggest mission, is spreading the Zohar because of what it does. So over the weeks, I've showed you different pictures of some of the different projects we had. We send to all of South America. We just had a group down in Paraguay handing out these to the police, to the military, to the politicians. But an amazing story that we just heard yesterday was in China. We have students everywhere, and people will go everywhere, and they'll carry these with them to hand out everywhere. So there was a group that were able to put in containers and bury them in the ground, right, in containers so they're protected, bury them in the ground along a certain aspect of the border of China. And if you followed the news, there was a fire that came and destroyed acres and acres and acres of this one area of China. Except for the village that was right on the edge where the Zohar was the only village that survived, that didn't have any fire that reached it. So this is the power of what the Zohar is and what the Zohar project is. And before we do our blessing on the offering, because it's your support that allows us to do this, right? That's it. The only limitation we have is just the resources. It's that simple. We can print as many of these as we'll have resources to do. We can spread them as many people are willing to go out there. But you and I right here and right now are empowering this to happen. So whether you don't have it, pick one up, have it in your pocket, keep it with you. If you have it, like the woman I told you about, make sure everyone you know has it. Yes, I'm not telling you run and force people to take it. Please, that's for sure not what we want. We want people who are willing to take it, even if they don't understand it. But you come to them and say, look, I want to give you this gift. I believe it's a book of blessing, health, protection, right, and peace, and I want you just to have it. Keep it in your pocketbook, keep it in your purse, keep it in your briefcase, put it in your car in the glove compartment, etc. But I want you to have this gift of blessings and peace. 99.9% of the people today are accepting it. So you'd be surprised. You just have to break through a little bit of your hesitancy. But people are willing to get it. So we have people who are willing to get it out there if you're willing to support our ability to have more of these. And that's why we always take this moment, the offering, yes, in appreciation for the I hope, the inspiration and the wisdom you get from Sunday, but also in the bigger picture to help spread this around the world. Because it is the glue that does unite and has united millions of people right now around the world, all races, all backgrounds, etc., for that one mission. Bring the light of the Creator to everybody. So we'll take a minute, and after we finish, we have a special guest I'd like to introduce you to in a few minutes. But just hold your offering, whatever you're offering. Just hold it in your hands. We know that money is just a vessel. It's a container. We've earned it in one way or another by putting our life force of talents and abilities in it. We were able to do that because of the light of the Creator. And therefore, in spreading the light of the Creator, we know we get the maximum blessing in return. So we just want to inject our light, our love, and our blessing into this offering, that it goes out and touches the heart and soul of millions and billions of people around the planet, to awaken them to the light of the Creator inside them, to have greater certainty in their perfection, in the light of the Creator in them, and to know that every human being also has that light of the Creator, and that our work is to gather the puzzle pieces together by acting with love and kindness and compassion to all human beings, unconditional love, to put more of our puzzle pieces together, to activate more of the light and those puzzle pieces in them, and assembling the ultimate quantum puzzle of the world in peace and harmony, all good all the time. We send it out with our love and our blessings, and together we open our eyes and we say, Amen. So before we go on to our meditation, I would like to introduce Michael Levine. He's from New York. He's the head of the Zohar Project International. So Michael Levine.
Hi, everyone. This is very inspirational to be here because the Zohar Project feels like the way that we could all do actions to gather those sparks, to gather those pieces of the jigsaw puzzle in our own lives and help other people put those pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together in their own lives. I've been a volunteer for the Zohar Project for 7 years, and for the last few months, I'm actually employed by the Kabbalah Center, working full-time for the Zohar Project. It's an amazing merit, and I wanted to first of all thank those students here that are volunteers, because Boca and South Florida has been an amazing source of energy and emphasis that has helped the Zohar Project be such a success, and thank you all so much. And I would also like to invite those of you that are new to join us, to join the Zohar Project. If you want to get more involved, you can email us, which is actually through me. It's zoharproject@kabbalah.com. That's one way to get involved. And one of the projects of the Zohar Project is we have a tour that goes 4 times a year to different cities that actually Chaim has been on for 3 times, had amazing energy where we share the Zohar in places that need love and light. And I wanted to announce the next project because it's actually very close to Boca. It's in Jamaica. It's in Kingston, Jamaica. It's on August 8th through the 12th. It's when students from all around the world who are volunteers in the Zohar Project gather and we share the Zohar. And we'll be doing it in Kingston, Jamaica. And I'm going to be here after the connection, so if anyone wants to talk or get involved more, please let me know. Thank you so much and for allowing me to speak.
Okay, so we have our meditation, as soon as we can get it on there. We also have, I know Michael, we've talked about it before, we have little boxes and we're getting more of them. It's so amazing. I mean, how many we have, 500 originally? We had 500 boxes. Many of you have already obtained them. We call it the grassroots. 20 of the pocket Zohars for $42 with a little information kit that you can hand out to your friends, etc. 500 went like this. So now International has taken over. They're making thousands of boxes. We'll have some more coming soon. But it's a great opportunity for every person just to have them around. Again, you never know when the pieces will fit. You'll be in the supermarket, you'll be at the doctor's office, and somebody will say something that will just click to you. They could use a pocket Zohar, and you just offer it to them. Just a yes, yes, no, no. Explain it. It's a gift, like we said. If they take it, great. If not, you move on to the next person. But every time you make the effort to hand it out, what do you get? Another piece of your puzzle. Exactly, exactly. Another piece put together. That's exactly it. Because it's not just if they take it, you get the puzzle piece. It's the fact you're willing to offer it, you get the puzzle piece. Yes, it's additionally nice that they'll take it, but if they don't, someone else will. Because the picture is already out there, right? And we just want to speed up the process. So what you have in front of you is one of what's called the 72 names of God. If you look to your left, if you're new, you have all 72. Each one is like a function button to our soul. So you've all worked with computers or cell phones, yes? Yes. So if you think about it, every time you dial a phone, what are you really doing? The 10 numbers that you push are function buttons of that cell phone that activate a certain part of your cell phone, that when you put all 10 together, what do you get? You get the other person's phone to be activated, and hopefully you have a nice conversation. So the same way, we would like to have a conversation or truly a connection to more light in our soul because the Creator put everything there. So this is one function button that will activate another aspect. Yes, for those of you who recognize them, they are called Aramaic or Hebrew letters. But if you understood or you could see them spiritually, they are just portals, conduits of the infinite light of the Creator common to every human being. The same way we all have DNA that are made of the same chemicals, right? Every human being is just a different combination, determines what we look like, etc. So too, the different combinations of these spiritual DNA determine what function they create in our soul. So as you see in front of you, this one, and the names of the letters from right to left, Yud, Bet, Mem. Yud, Bet, Mem. So you just look at it, the shapes allow it to channel that light, the 3 together, as you see, designed beneath disorder. So like we said today, you have a puzzle piece here and here and here, and you can't quite see how they all fit together. Just keep adding the pieces. As you gather more and more of them, you will see that order. All right, so this is going to help support us. So just take a good look. Let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye. Yud Bet Mem. And then if you close your eyes, sitting comfortably in the chair, hands on your lap, feet flat on the floor, taking in a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose, hold the breath for a moment, and exhale through your mouth. Allowing yourself to relax into the pure light in and all around you. Feeling the warmth, the love from the Creator and from the Creator in every human being. Let's just meditate together to access the soul of every human being on earth, reaching into their pure and perfect beingness, strengthening our conscious connection to each one of those people, each one of those parts of our soul. And now, awakening with the Yud Bet Mem, awakening a new level of trust and certainty. The solution is already there. There's a perfect reason for everything in my life now to allow me to express more of my light nature, to act more godlike to every person, in every situation that I'm in and that I encounter this coming week. Yud Bet Mem. Awakening my soul. Feel that awakening. Open your heart. And now let the Yud Bet Mem that awakens the light in you to channel light through your heart to all your family and friends, gathering strength, gathering their support, and now sending that light of unconditional love, that pure light of the Creator, into the heart and soul of anyone that you now have conflict with. One, knowing that they are pure and perfect. And by sending light to their heart and soul, helping them to gather more and more of those puzzle pieces. Acting more loving, more kind, more tolerant, with more compassion. And notice how, as you're sending that light from your heart to theirs, your heart is more at ease, your mind more at peace. And sending the light through them to every person on earth. That everyone's heart opens, that more of their soul's light shines out to everyone they meet. And let's see together the world immersed in and surrounded by the infinite light of the Creator. And every human being happy, smiling, and united with every other person on earth. And together we take one more deep breath to anchor this in, and slowly exhale and open your eyes. Now our work is to take this sense of peace and serenity, keep it inside, and be able on the outside, as we go through our week, to do whatever we need to do, keeping that peace inside. And let's see how different our week will be.